Happy Friday. How's it going? Hey, Shenanigans. How's everyone doing? Oh, forgot to turn my lights on here. Blop. There we go. Much better. Now I can be seen, but cannot see. Sorry for getting started a little late today. Scrambling to finish up all the work stuff I need to do since I will be out of office early next week for Godotcon Boston. I'm heading out Sunday. So probably a short stream today because I got to get back to work relatively soon and finish up the rest of that stuff. May or may not stream tomorrow. I have some plans and, I'm just trying to get ready because I fly out very, 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 very early Sunday morning. And I do not get back till very, 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 very late Wednesday evening. Shenanigans, you're not too bad. Right now you're working on a 7-year-old internal video tool that was slapped together as a temporary solution. So it was slapped together as a temporary solution and you're still using it 7 years later. That is deeply relatable. That is always how that works out, isn't it? Yeah, I thought I could stream like right up until I left for the con, but now I'm like looking at everything I have to do and I'm like, that's probably not doable. All right, so what did we do yesterday? Yesterday we got the clipboard to work a little better. We got the clipboard to act as like a substitute for the block tool. And so we have this little clipboard icon I made. And so now when we build stuff, we can build something, grab a piece of it, copy it, and now it's in the clipboard. And so we can paste it around, or we can just switch to another tool. There are some issues with the switching to another tool part. Like I did this and I switch over here. It stops here. There's like it builds for one frame. It like, not one frame, but for a time it shows up in the wrong place. So like if I copy this and then I switch back to this, you can see it's like showing up in a weird spot. So we have to figure that out. So that's no good. Nothing is more permanent than a temporary solution. Exactly. And whenever you say you're going to do something the right way, whenever you're like, this time we're doing it right, we're building it right, we're going to architect it properly, it's going to be the solution that we use for years to come. You do all that, you build it, and then the requirements change, and you're like, well, time to start over. But yeah, if you tell yourself it's going to be temporary, then it's going to survive the heat death of the universe. Yeah, I also want to work on the cutaway thing. The cutaway thing should not be doing this to the clipboard. Like, the clipboard is like forced in cutaway mode. And then if we swap to this tool, yeah, it's busted there. Let's tackle that first. Let's see what's happening. The frame that we switch back from the clipboard to another tool in the palette block, or the block palette. Let us see why that is causing a problem the next frame. I bet it's somewhere in here. So is the active block tool being made to be empty when we have a copy? I think we did. We set that up. So the active block tool is empty when we make a copy. That might be causing some of the problem. Game.input.output. Oops. So this is the branch that we get when we are doing a clipboard thing. Bounds, prior bounds. Is there anything we're not changing? We're not setting prior coords, which we should probably do. Do we always want to set coords to be prior coords? Or prior, whatever. Yeah, let's start doing that. Let's just start saying, oh, but bounds is declared in here. But coords, I think we can just do. So let's just do this out here. Prior coords equals coords. I think that's probably the problem. Is we're just using an out-of-date coordinate. Let's see if that made a difference. All right, so now we're going to copy this thing. It's in here. And then we're going to go back here. Aha, okay, yeah, we didn't get that weird graphical glitch at the last point we were at. So that's good. That seems to be working. Let's just double check. I'm kind of treating this as possibly, very possibly the last time I work on this project until Godotcon. Till I get to Godotcon. So I think today we're just going to focus on cleaning stuff up. Just so if I have the opportunity to demo this to anybody, we have like the cleanest possible demo. I think that's a reasonable goal for today. So let's copy this. So what if I have my mouse over here and I copy? Oh, it comes back to here. Ooh, I love that. Oh, developer Ezra. We got a raid. Batten down the hatches and stuff. Welcome in, raiders. All right, yeah, we fixed it. Sweet. Hello, hello. Yeah, I appreciate the raid back. Thank you. How was your stream? I saw you streaming earlier. I wanted to tune in, but I did not. I was a little too busy with work. How's everyone doing? We're working on our auto tiler here. We've, you gotta get going. You're continuing our manual A-star implementation. Nice, nice, nice. Struggled, but the auto tile looks cool. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, we're working on, we've implemented a clipboard piece. So I've been working on this so I've got something in the clipboard so I can just switch to the clipboard. So we've been implementing that. So we can remember more complex arrangements that you can select using the selection tool. So you can select multiple layers, throw it into the clipboard, but then you can switch back to another tool and switch back again to the clipboard, and it all just works. So that's what we did yesterday. But yeah, have a good post-raid, whatever you got to do, you know. And I guess I'll catch you next time. Thank you. Welcome in, raiders. Thanks for hanging out if you can. If you got to run, I understand. It's Friday. Fancy? Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm leaving for Godotcon on Sunday, so we're just tightening up the demo, this tool, just so that if I get to demo it, it'll be as nice a demo as possible. Oh yeah, here's something I think I want to do today. I want to be able to rotate the selection. So if I like copy all of this stuff, like if I copy this, throw it into the clipboard, I want to be able to turn it. So if I go, so at the moment, if I hit the turn button, it's going to turn everything, the camera and everything. But what I would want to do, I think, is I would want to turn the contents of the clipboard. Or at least I'd like to have a way to do that. Maybe we'll work on that. Maybe not. That might be a lot to dig into in one day, but, you know, as long as we don't break anything, what's the harm, right? Famous last words. All right. Yeah. Yeah, let's see what we can work on next. We could just tighten up some of the auto tiling behavior. It's still a little weird. Excuse me. Or we could do something more significant. I think I would need to decide. Right now, it's shift arrow key to rotate the camera. So maybe it would be control arrow key to rotate the thing that you've copied. That seems reasonable, right? So maybe we set that up. Maybe we set up the ability to do that. That would be a pretty cool thing to do. I wouldn't call that necessary, but that could be a nice thing to do. So right now we've got orbit left and orbit right, which is Shift W or Shift A, Shift D. So what we're talking about is like rotate block, something like that. Chirovert, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. All right. Do we want this rotation to only work on the clipboard? You know, we could use E and Q. We could use Shift E and Shift Q to be turn the construction. Because Control W and Control S wouldn't really do anything. Whereas like level up, level down are things that you'd want, like Shift S, Shift W. Because that moves the camera up and down between the levels. And then Shift A, Shift D rotates the camera around. So maybe we want something like Shift E, Shift Q. Hey, 404 Do. 404 Do. Love those little strawberries. Love those squat berries. That's pretty good. All right, let's just do something for now, and we can change it later. So we're gonna call this like turn clip. I don't know. Turn block. Rotate block. Let's just call it rotate block. Rotate block left. Okay, so let's think about the D-pad. So at the moment, the orbit left, orbit right, and level up, level down are going to be our D-pad buttons. Maybe we can use the bumpers for the rotate. Poyart. Thank you for the follow. If you got another pronunciation for that, let me know. I hate mispronouncing people's usernames. All right, rotate block left. So we're gonna call this. I'm torn about what to call this, but for now I'm just gonna call it Shift Shift Q. Shift Q, not Shift A. Shift Q. $404 Do. Thank you for the follow. Really appreciate that. And then let's have a rotate block right. Because this is just gonna rotate the constructions that we have selected. Ooh, I wonder if this will work on your selection itself. Or if I'm gonna make you, yeah, I don't even think you need to put this in the clipboard. This should be able to you should be able to select a block, a section of blocks, and then rotate it. So maybe control is better. Because then you could also have control, yeah. I've changed my mind. Although, maybe I haven't. No, I haven't. I changed my mind about changing my mind. We'll call this Shift E. We'll add, so joypad, not joypad buttons, we want... Oh, maybe we do want joypad buttons. Poyart? You're always curious about how people will pronounce the name? Yeah, that's funny. I'm sure there's many ways to do it. Hey, Rig, how's it going? All right, so what is this called? Is this left shoulder? Yeah, because it's Xbox, LB, and RB, right? Those are the shoulder buttons. Or those are the bumpers, not the triggers. What are the triggers called? Are they not even on here? Lots of people watching on Twitch. Yeah, we got a raid from a developer, Ezra. Yep. Nice early raid. Which is good, because this probably won't be our longest stream. Because I do have some more Godotcon prep I need to do. All right, we're just going to call it this. Left shoulder, right shoulder for now. All right, so let's implement this. So what this is going to do, let's hook this into the input handler first. So what this is going to do, is this a view? It's not a view command, is it? It's an edit command. It's going to be edit tool. We can call it turn or something like that. We can say something like elif input.isAction just pressed. We're going to call it rotate block left true game.enqueue input edit tool. This is how we send commands over, is with these argument strings. We should call this like rotate. And then we'll have a value, -1. Or we could just have a direction. Everywhere else we use numbered values, so let's do that. Rig, more laundry. Laundry is just to catch all for life obligations. I didn't even mention laundry, but yes, we will also be doing laundry. There's two things in life that just constantly you're fighting off. It's like laundry and like dirty dishes. No matter what you do, there's just more of both. I read a book once, which is a pretty interesting book, and it was like how long you would spend doing each like menial life task, if you only did it, if you had to do it all in a row, like here's an example, like how long would you spend showering if you took all of the showers that you took over your life and had to do it all at once? And it would be like you would be showering for 3 weeks or something like that. And it was funny. And they took this for all these activities. Kilbert, what does enqueue input do? Oh, Kilbert, you know Enomoth? We love Enomoth. Oh yeah, there he is. I didn't see your message. Yeah, cooking. Cooking is it. All right, Kilvert, or Kyrovert. Kyrovert. Enqueue input. So here's our architecture. It's kind of unusual. So in GDScript, we have our scene tree, and in our scene tree we have the game node, which is like our root node. We have the board, which is like the game board, and in here is where we put everything that you can see or interact with. That's a physical thing, like tile maps, nodes, stuff like that, characters moving around. We also have UI, obviously. So GDScript handles rendering, it handles user interface, but we've written the simulation layer to be off in .NET in like a separate C# .NET land, so that the simulation entities are very lightweight. They're not tied to nodes. They're not tied to scenes. They're just very lightweight objects. And so our hook, or more like the window between these two worlds, is the game node, which is the only node I have that's like written in C# here. And so enqueue input is over here, and all it does really is it reads the first argument of the array of strings. Is it an edit command? Is it an exit command? Like, are we trying to quit the game? Is it a view command? Like, are we rotating the camera and stuff? Right now, that's all we have, is because we're only really working on the editing tool. So we've got edits and views and exit. And so that records these to some globals we have, just some input-output globals where we record inputs so that we can process them in the systems. We have a main system. We have kind of an entity component system architecture that we're using. So we have a main system, runs the systems that are necessary. The tool system is the system we care about. It's an edit system. So if we're in the edit state, we'll run the tool system, and the tool system will consume these. So it'll dequeue those arrays of strings off of the game input queue, specifically the tools queue, and it will process them. So that's how we get our behavior. And then the tool system will make changes to the block arrays, the block volumes, I should say. The auto tile system looks at the block volumes, determines how they should be drawn, and then that tile map data gets sent back to Godot in an output queue, and that's how we get our auto tiled final constructions. I know you asked a very simple question, and I basically explained the whole architecture so far, but you know, if you want to make an apple pie from scratch, and that's how we get to this point. And so what we're working on right now is we want to be able to take a selection like this, because right now we can copy the selection, but all we can do is place it back down. Like we can just keep placing it. We can also switch to another tool to make some adjustments, like I'll add a door here or something. Now we can go, and now that that's done, we can go back to our clipboard and paste another one of these, you know. And so what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to rotate the thing in the clipboard. Or, ooh. I just spotted an error that we need to fix. If you try to make a selection while you've got the clipboard active, bad things happen. Let's fix that. It's nice. Great job. Thank you. It's the only thing we have so far, so we don't really have a game so much as we have a tool. You'll bet you're a programmer yourself. Yeah. That's kind of the crowd we tend to attract, because I've been working on my pixel art. Like, this is our style guide of what I'm leaning towards doing, like very low res pixel art. But this is all programmer art. I'm a generalist, so I do pick the art, the sound, the gameplay, the design. But I tend to think I'm not a good programmer, but that definitely seems to be my approach. Like, it's what anchors my approach is the programming. All right, so first thing I want to do is I want to clean up. If we make a selection, I want to change some stuff. So we've got, palette, we do this reveal block thing. Get rid of that. Rig, if I rotate the map while you have a clipboard selection active, does it rotate the selection as well? Because if not, that is a roundabout way to rotate the selection. No, at the moment, it rotates just the camera view, so the selection would stay relatively the same. It would look different, but that's because it's staying the same. So yeah, we're doing kind of the opposite of that. Pyrovert, same. You've actually decided to become a technical artist because you can't choose. That's a good calling. Most of the artists that I know in the industry kind of became technical artists, whether they started as concept artists or whatever, or animator or whatever. They might have started more in just the pure art, side of things. That pretty much all of them I know that are still in the industry have all migrated to doing tech art stuff. Because it's good. It's like a cross-disciplinary thing that's fairly in demand still. All right, so when we change the palette, we do a few things. We reveal all the blocks. We need to do that. We also need to set the active block tool. No, we can leave the active block tool as empty. We just need to do this. We just need to reveal the blocks. We need to reveal the blocks, and we need to unselect... we need to unselect the clipboard. I don't remember how we do that. So let's start. So the initial thing would be we go down to select begin. What we should do is we should do this. We should reveal all the blocks. That will clean up the clipboard being displayed. Then we need to communicate to the clipboard that you are not the current selection anymore. And how do we do that? I know I set up the method for doing it, but we did it yesterday, so I need to remember how it works. We set up a method to communicate back to the we have a button group that manages the palette. The block palette. And how do we communicate that back? I think it's via here. Copied to clipboard. Clipboard.disabled equals false. Clipboard.grab focus. Clipboard.button pressed. So I kind of need something else. I need something like I want something like function unpress button. And what we want to do is we want to say button group dot get pressed button. Can I say release? We want to release the focus. I should probably call this release instead of unpress. Release pressed button. So we release the focus. Then what we need to do is we could just say variable pressed button equals button group dot get pressed button. And then what we want to do is we want to release the focus. Kyrovert, how long have I been a programmer? Your code looks clean. Thank you. It's not, but thank you. What I've been aiming for. So what I've been aiming for is just modularity, which I wouldn't say is the best thing in the long term, but in the short term, it's really great. Like when we're managing all of our tile map layers, I could have run this all as a single loop, but instead I unrolled the loop and we handle each layer separately, which means we're kind of inefficiently running the loop multiple times. But in my mind, it's like been much cleaner for the behavior because I'm not doing all these crazy conditional branching of like trying to figure out what layer we're talking about. There's just, here's the layer X code, here's the layer Y code, here's the layer Z code. So right now I'm optimizing for flexibility. I'm optimizing for the ability to change the code and to understand it. In the long term, we'll probably optimize for something else, you know, as we move through stages. But in answer to the actual question you asked, about I'd say like 16, 17, high tens, somewhere 17, 18 years or something like that. I started probably in like 2009, maybe. 2009 is probably when I actually started trying to learn how to program. Maybe 2008. But I started out in Unity. Did Unity dev for about 15 years. Unity hobbyist dev. And then I switched to Godot about a year and a half ago for reasons. So I'm very home self-taught. Like I would say my style is simple and not great, but it's simple. It's because I'm a generalist. I don't know. Maybe I guess I'm clearly I have some programmer esteem issues, or I wouldn't defend myself so vigorously. All right, so pressed button, we release the focus. Pressed button. What we need to do is we need to say pressed as a signal. I want a function. I don't want like the property. Oh, maybe I do want the property. So button pressed, I can just say button pressed equals false. That feels awkward. I feel like it should be like a function, and it should be like dot release button. Dot release button is what I would expect, but it seems to work because up here I say clipboard dot button pressed equals true. This should work. This should let us clean up if we switch to a select mode from copy paste mode abruptly before we finish. This should clean it up a little bit. Reasons, yeah, exactly. Yeah, we really are leaning into modularity. Like, people, well, not people. I am always like, you know, I made an entity component system for this game. It arguably doesn't need it. But the thing that the entity component system does is it lets me define systems, and it lets me define components in a very, very, very modular way. So there's a reason why entity component systems are very popular for engines. It's because like the engine maker doesn't know exactly what the end user is going to need. In the same way, I'm kind of a terrible designer. So the systems programmer, I put my systems programmer hat on, and I'm like, I have no idea what I'm going to need really at the end of the day. So if I at least design, at least if I have an entity component system, I can be modular about it. I can be flexible in the future. And that's part of the reason why I like Godot so much, is it's really engineered for flexibility. You lose some performance, you lose some stuff when you do that, but I think it'll be good. All right, let's run this and see what happens. I assume it's going to break. I actually think I didn't include all the code I needed to do, but hopefully I did. So let's see. Oh, I did break something. We're missing our corner piece. Let's understand why. Kind of broke the corner a little bit. Did I put this line of code in place and not select? I did. Oops. That was the wrong place. You get it? Place. That was the wrong place. We want to select looks very similar to place. Our code is also kind of awkwardly structured because there's this very clear barrier between the .NET side of things that doesn't really know or care about the engine, and the Godot side of things, like the scene tree and all that stuff. I try to have a very clean distinction between the two, and it does mean we have to kind of bend over backwards sometimes to do stuff. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab this, copy this. So we've got this piece we're copying around, and then if I try to copy a different piece, everything goes to shit. Okay, so we're not releasing the clipboard. That's not happening, and that makes sense because I'm not actually telling it to do that. I didn't actually write the code that says that. All right. So if peak state, if output.copied to clipboard. I need to do something a little different here. I think instead of just having it be this state, like copied to clipboard, I think we need an output queue in the same way that we're taking input. So we have this weird way of doing this, which is kind of backwards, or it's kind of awkward, is what it is. Where we're in queuing, like let's say we have a view command like orbit, which is turn the camera 90 degrees, right? That's what our orbit is. Or level, which is like move the camera level up or down. If we have one of these, the input is registered by the input handler, which is an auto load. It's a global in GDScript. So we register that. It gets enqueued in the game's input queue. So we enqueued that in the input queue. It gets read by the view system, which is definitely somewhere. Stand by. Why is it in the ECS folder? I guess it's because it's a system. View system. So we do all of this. And then if it can be processed, if we're able to process this view correctly, it gets dequeued no matter what. So we dequeue it. And then if it's something that we want to process and we're in the correct state too. Right now, we're not basing this based on state because view commands are always going to be pretty much registered unless we're maybe in like a menu. We're using a state stack to manage stuff like that, like menu, state, and then you click play, so you push the play state on top of the menu state, and then if you pop the play state off, we're back in the menu state. So we're using a state stack to manage that, and that's going to control how input gets processed, right? Godot doesn't necessarily know that. It can. It will read the state sometimes, like you can see that here. We'll say here we've got if game.state as string, because enums don't play nicely across the level, so we take it as a string. If it's the edit state, we'll interpret these commands this way. So all of that said, our view comes in, we dequeue it here in the view system, we process it, and then what we do is we might put it back on the output queue. And the reason we put it back on the output queue is because then that command can be sent back to Godot, to the scene tree, and it can display the change. And that's better than just, reading the input in the input handler and then instantly making the change. If there's a corresponding like UI change or camera change or whatever, you could easily just hook it in here and instantly make the change. But we want to run it through the state system. We want to run it through the simulation layer because maybe we don't actually want to process this command yet. So it's a little easier if we just send it in, it gets processed, and then we send it back out. So I think we're going to do the same thing here with the button presses and the clipboard stuff and all that stuff. I think the initial way I did it just as a hack to see if it would work is I just have an output. I just have a global variable called copied to clipboard, which is just a bool. And on the frame that we copy something to clipboard, it's true. And if it's true, we tell the palette back on the Godot side that we copied something to clipboard. That's terrible. We're just going to change it to be like... We're going to change it to be like the other systems. So we're going to say something like while output dot tools dot DQ or while tools dot count greater than 0. We need to make output dot tools though. There's probably a better way we could do this, but this is simple. This is simple and we like simple. Command tools. So it's a tool command. And here we're going to say, so instead we're going to say while tools.count is greater than 0. Command is output.tools.dq. We can do a state check here at the moment. I'm not going to worry about the state check. What we do want is if we want to validate that this is a command that we actually want to process. Command.arg.tool. Expected tool got that instead. And then here we have our switch enum.parse command.arg command.next.step. So we get the next step of the command. We'll say case command.arg. Maybe we call it copy for this case. So if the copy command, yeah, we're not going to do any game state querying at this point because I feel like if we've gotten this far, this command has been processed. It's been taken through the input, processed, and now it needs to be back output. So we've probably already done all of the state checks we need. We can add a validation for that later. So what we're going to do here is we're going to say palette. I have this done as function calls rather than just straight calls to the nodes. So maybe we keep doing that. Maybe we say something like we call it like clipboard pressed or something like that. Clipboard UI pressed. I don't know. Clipboard palette pressed. Here we just say palette dot call. We'd say clipboard. We'd say copied to clipboard. Oh. We probably shouldn't call it copied to clipboard. Maybe we do. Maybe we say copied to clipboard. I feel like this is a little dumb, but that's kind of what I've been doing elsewhere, so we'll keep doing it for now. If I change my mind about it, we can change it. And then, so the case we're interested in is command.arg.select. And here we want is something like, call this private void block selected. And that is palette dot call. And what did we call this here in Godot? We called this in the palette or in the button group. Where did we do this? No, here in the block palette. We called this release pressed button. Let's use the same language here. Might change our mind about this. Release pressed button. This way the implementation can change without the function. Or we can just call the function and the body of the function is... It's a little too clean code for my liking, but it's okay. I'm trying to do a good job. Because this is kind of the first time I've had to wrangle with this kind of weird domain boundary thing between the managed and the unmanaged sides of things, between the Godot API stuff. Copied to clipboard. Oh, where's the problem? It's here. There's an argument to be made that we maybe want to process some of this stuff even if the main task is still running. Like, obviously we don't want to try to output the tile stuff. Maybe waiting for the main task is a good idea. We run the main systems as a task, so it has more than one frame to complete. And then we synchronize everything. And I think we're going to eventually want multiple synchronization steps, because not everything needs to synchronize at the same time. Then we're getting into more like having like synchronization points across the frame. Unity really didn't like you having these long-running tasks. They really wanted you to just like go wide and use as many threads as possible, and just so that all of your jobs finished in a single frame. Their ECS system, at least when I used it, was like very much was not happy if you were like, here's some work, take as many frames as you need. When you're done, come back to me. I mean, the job scheduler was fine with it, but the entity component stuff was like very unhappy with that. So we're trying to write ours in a way that's a little more flexible. But the only way we can do it right now is if we're just like, nobody do anything until we're done. Which for us might be fine. That might be totally fine. We'll see. All right, so now we have an output, tools, process. Now I need to rewrite some stuff so that this actually happens. All right, so now we just need to handle the enqueuing of the tool commands when we're done processing them in the tool system for the correct branches. So here, at the moment, we're saying game.output.copied to clipboard equals true. That's not what we want to do. What we want to do is we want to say game.output.enqueue or .enqueue? That's right? Why can't I do that? Oh, game.output.tools.enqueue. We want to enqueue command.back. Actually, we don't really care. Well, yeah, command.back would be consistent. And next step is copy. Command, if not command.is, command.arg.tool. Is that the right order? So if we read copy and then I go back one step, we should get to tool, right? So here's an example. So tool, so copy, tool, edit. Okay, yeah, because we don't want to go all the way back to the beginning to edit. We will just want to go back to tool. Sorry, I've been hogging all the airwaves. How's everyone doing today? Happy Friday. We made it. Made it to the weekend. We're nearly there. We're 10 followers away from our next follower goal. That's exciting. All right, so what I'm doing here is we're saying game.output.tools.enqueue command.back. Yep, that's fine. Am I using this clipboard empty thing anywhere? Let's go to the top and see if it's being used. It's assigned, but its value is never used. All right. Well, let's just stop then. Let's just forget about it then. So we've got this in queue. We also want, so cutting and copying is the same for this purpose. So we'll just say enqueue command.back. Oh, do I actually need to say, so if it can be the cut or the copy, we need to actually add both cases. So case command.arg.cut. So whether it's copy or cut, can we switch this to a switch expression? I kind of like the switch expression. No, you won't let me do that? So Sometimes it lets me switch to a switch expression instead of a switch statement. Sometimes it doesn't. Because I feel like this would benefit from that. Let me go look to see if I have any of those. I kind of like them, but I don't use them very often. All right, so copy and cut and queues this. We have to fix the thing that we changed, which is oh, that's what we did. We just fixed the thing we changed. Now we need to add the select. So we got our select. So here we say oh man, we need to go back to... I kind of need an ability to go back to a particular index in a command. Because that would be kind of helpful. Let's open the command script here. So we've got... So command is super simple and it just has some little helper functions. So reset is not really what I want. I kind of want to be like reset 2. Let's do that. Let's say public command reset 2. Or maybe set 2. Maybe it's not reset 2. Set 2. Integer step. And we just say step equals step. We could say if step, yeah, if step is, we could say throw new index out of range exception. This step takes us out of range. Turn this. Can I say something else? Can I say something like return this with step equals step? Yeah, does that work? Or does that not work because it's a private variable? Oh, it's not a record type. Oh, this is a class. Oh, because it's a array of strings, right? All right, so now what we can do, we can be a little, because right now I usually just hit back if we just need to go back one step, but we're running into a situation where we actually need to go much farther. Like, or we need to specify, we need to go back to a particular step. This is kind of brittle, which I don't love, because if I change the structure, it will just break. But that's fine. These are fairly hard-coded. And I can live with it. So right now what we're saying is we're saying edit tool select coords begin. And potentially add or replace. So what we're doing is we end up here at add and replace, and we want to get back to tool. So we just say set to 1. We could also potentially have a set to that takes a string and it finds. Actually, that's pretty good. Maybe we have a public command set to string step. And then this one does says something like step equals, or we could say something like variable index. Well, we can say step equals index of, we could say args dot index. How do I get the index of here? Oh, that's the wrong thing. Args dot index I don't want to use any, I don't want to use link. I just want to find a string. Get value, not really what I want. Man, this array doesn't have a... Oh well, whatever. We can do this. We can do this with a loop. Index of equals -1. I guess this helps. This way, if we don't find it, we're okay. We can say for I equals 0, I is less than args dot length. We can say, yeah, if args I evaluates to step, index of equals I, great. And then we can say break. We should probably make this a function. Have a private function for this. Private int index of string arg. Yeah, similarly, this would say, this would be arg. All right, we're in ads, but we're chilling. Try not to do anything too thrilling while we're in ads. Do I want this to capture -1? No, let's just say return I. In fact, we don't even need to do this. You can say return I. We don't even need the break. And then if we make it all the way out here, we can say return -1. That's consistent with how I generally use index of. You could also probably enumerate the array, so that's already in here, isn't it? Args dot enumerate using community toolkit dot high performance. Enumerates the items in the input T array instance as pairs of reference index values. Do I want to do it this way? For each variable item in is there any reason to do this over just iterating the array? I mean, it's part of the high performance toolkit. I'm like tempted. Tempted to just do this. I'm usually skeptical of like advanced ways of doing things. If it seems like the simpler way will be better, but why would I want to use this? It's in the high performance toolkit, which makes me think it's high performance. And it takes just like a typed array. So it's like very much useful for our case. So what if it doesn't find it? I don't know, whatever. So we could instead say for each variable item in args.enumerate, we'd say something like if item.value is equal to arg, we return item.index. Otherwise, we return -1. So I don't know. I'm going to go for it. Because why not? We already are using the high performance toolkit. So we can just say step equals index of arg. We can say if step is less than 0. Say the step is out of range. Actually, we could say something else. We could say this argument. We could say this argument arg was not found Argument exception. Argument out of range exception. It's argument arg. It's out of range. Return this. All right, so now we can set to with a directly setting the step, which I feel like you shouldn't support. I feel like I shouldn't support this. I feel like if you want to set to, say set step 2. We could just say step 2. Step 2 arg. We can also call this step 2. And so here, when we're doing this, what we're going to do is we're going to say, so when we hit begin, we're going to say game.output.tools.enqueue command.step2 tool. Could I put command.arg.tool?
I was driving around town doing a lot of usual stuff, but there was a cow looking like it was using tall wooden legs that appeared from time to time to say, like, yeah, I know you can do it. You have my trust. When I was little, I had a tree outside my bedroom window, and the moonlight spread its shadow across my ceiling. And sometimes when I woke up in my groggy state, it looked like spider webs.
All right, so that should work. So now when we do a selection, it should do something. I'm sure we're going to get some kind of crash here. I'm sure I've set something up wrong. But man, won't I look cool if this just works on the first try? It seemed to work because it unselected this tool when I just began the selection. So if we go to this, and then I do this. When I pick one of these, it should also unselect.
Everything's gonna be okay.
We should call this something like release. We should call this like depress.
Probably. It's hard to tell.
Here, let's do the same thing for... Let's do something else for selection. So when... Oops, this is the wrong area. So when here, I want the selection to go away when we change the block palette as well. So in palette, I really need to clean all of this up. Put things in order, like when we process a command, here's where we do this stuff, here's where we do this stuff, here's where we like clean up this stuff. Right now it's just in a random order within each case. I should really organize the case into a specific, here's where we clean up the previous state, here's where we like make the changes where we want to make now, and here's where we like record things for next time. Like that's kind of usually just how stuff flows, but I'm not super consistent about it, and I should be. So here, palette, when we select a palette, what we should do, and not palette, so clip. So in any case, what we should do here is we should say deselect blocks. Let's say buffer.aabb. I feel like if you pass only a buffer, it should just pull the AABB out. I should have an overload that can take just a buffer. I should add that to a bunch of these functions. Well, whatever. Overloading the function is something we can do later as a quality of life thing. All right, so now if I select and then I pick, so select undoes the palette. If I click something on the palette, it undoes the select. Okay, that's nice. That's nice and clean. And then if I grab this, put it in the clipboard, we crash. Index was outside the bounds of the array. Step 3. Public step string. Command dot is. Command dot get step. Oh, how did we step? How did we step that far? Also, what step are we at? We're at step 3. Oh. What? How did we get here? Argument tool. Command is argument tool. The arg was tool, and this was true. Then we got the step. Or did we get the step as part of the is check? We did. Okay. Oh, wait, what? How did we get into this state? Hold on. Let me see. Let me see how we got ourselves into this situation. Kind of a quiet day today. It's all right. I get it. I'm tired. Everyone's tired. Kind of just getting through the workday here. I'm ready. I'm ready to be done. Working. Not this. Not game dev. Let's be clear. All right. So I think what's happening, doing the is check, is arg, step. So we grab the step. Public string. Step. Arg step. So this, I think, my suspicion. So this happened when we copied, didn't it? So when we did the copy. We got here, copy, cut, copied to clipboard. I think it happened here. I don't even think we got to this error. So we could say, what we did is this. So we said if not command is command.arg.tool, expected tool got command.step instead. I think we got here. No. Excuse me. All right, let's pay a little more attention to where we got stuck. This, copy. Yeah, okay. It's here. Okay, so yeah, it was here. So here. Let's look at this command. Step. Exception of type system.index out of range exception was thrown. Args is 3. Oh, what? Args. Here we go. So edit, tool, copy. 0, 1, 2. The step became 3 somehow. Am I not saying copy? Did I not say back? So here we get to copy. Command.output.tools.enqueue command.back. Because command.next.step was command.arg.copy. Command.back should have fixed this for us. Oh, plus step? I've never used that command before. Should be minus step. Oopsies. My bad. That wasn't even something we changed. That's just always been wrong. So that should work now. So we do this, we copy it. Yeah, here we go. And then if I click this, we go back to here. And then if I go back to the clipboard and then I switch to copy, this still happens. What is happening here? There's still something weird happening. Oh, the hover is trying to do something. There's something about the internal state of the tool system that is not right. We're not leaving it in the correct state. Hey, Shaztov. How's it going? Your SSD stopped working? All your work was locally saved? No. That's like literally the worst thing ever. I feel for you and your work. But you know, version control is pretty good. Hey, Fusionist. You sent it for recovery. I hope you get it all back. I hope you get it all back. But the first thing I want you to do is to set up version control. Because this sort of thing should only happen to you once. And the pain. I'm sorry that you have to experience the pain of losing all the work. That really sucks. Fusionist, how it goes? It's going. It's going. We're cleaning up some of the little behavior when we're switching back and forth from like selecting and copying and placing blocks and stuff. We were getting into bad states, so we're just cleaning all that up and make it look real nice. How are you doing, Fusionist? 7 months of work? Oh no. You've been doing some pretty complex work, too. You were talking about it the other day. Damn. Well, there's always hope. There's hope that the recovery will get it. Because just because an SSD has stopped working doesn't mean, you know, the data's gone. It just means the SSD stopped working. So hopefully the data is recoverable. We can all hope for that. You read about someone who lost 9 months last year? No. Diginanigans, not just version control. Make sure that version control is pushed to an online repo as well. Both GitHub and Bitbucket have free options. Oh, that's a good point. That to me is just implied in version control. But yeah, that's right. That is right. Version control, you can't just commit, you have to push. But that sucks. There's no good. Nothing good comes out of a loss like that. Even if it forces you to like reevaluate some of that stuff, no one should have to lose their work to learn that lesson. Even just backing it up to another hard drive would be pretty good, but whatever. We're not here to judge. We're here to hang and work, and we've all lost. I think every single person here has probably lost a significant amount of work to something like that. I know I have. Is there anything on Godot? At least you can get your assets back. You even lost those. No. Is there anything cloud thing where Godot saves or something? So what I do is I just put everything in GitHub, but that's because I'm doing pixel art, and pixel art takes up literally no space. I know W4 Games is getting into their cloud stuff. Let me see what they're... So there's W4 Cloud now. I know this is a new thing that they're offering. Oh, but that's like doing multiplayer server management stuff. That is not what we're talking about, is it? That's headless dedicated game servers in the cloud. Yeah, I don't know. I actually don't know if there's... if there's something else you could use. But yeah, if the size is fine, because GitHub also has, what do they call it? What's the word for saving large files? LFS, large file storage or something. But that usually costs money, doesn't it? Does anyone know about an LFS solution that's like good or free or whatever? Because I feel like, Shaztov, are you doing 2D as well? No, you're doing... Oh, you are doing 2D, right? Because you have a bunch of crazy rendering stuff. You're doing like a Doom-like kind of presentation with the BSPs and stuff. Hey, Frlansky. Long time. How are you doing? Happy Friday. GitHub has been doing LFS for free for you? Oh, well, aren't you fancy? It's maybe because you had a student deal on it in the past. Oh, cool. Diginanigans, you've lost years of data that you thought you had backed up in Dropbox and on a RAID hard drive. Turns out the Dropbox stopped working a long time back and didn't notice. Oh, that's horrible. And then your RAID mirror died while you're trying to recover it. That scares me so much. I have... So everything I have that is... I have all my project folder stuff. So anything that's in a project, like this project, like the Digital Iliad project, this is all on GitHub. I have a bunch of other stuff just saved in Google Drive. I just have mirrored Google Drive, so things like all my generic ASprite files, like ASprite files that aren't tied to a specific project. My Obsidian vaults. My StreamerBot setup is also in Google Drive, so I don't have to set it back up again if I move computers, which I had to do last time. Shaztov, is there saving your situation? You were signed into Creative Cloud. I don't know. I don't know if Creative Cloud would help you recover any of that stuff. I don't really use any Adobe stuff for this. That sucks. I really hope you get the hard drive back. What else could maybe potentially save you? Diginanigans, you're not sure about GitHub. Bitbucket has free LFS for up to 5 gigs. That's total across your account, not per repo. That's pretty good still, though. Yeah, I don't know, Shaztov. I'm sorry. We can give you a lot of advice about like what to do going forward so that this never happens again, but I think as far as saving your current situation, I hope you have a good I hope that whatever shop you took the hard drive in can recover it, because I don't know what you can do after the fact, really. Berlansky, you're good. How am I? I'm doing great. We're going to Godotcon next week. I'm flying out early Sunday morning. And Godotcon's gonna be cool. There's there's workshops Monday, and then 2 days of talks, Tuesday, Wednesday. Should be super cool. Meet a bunch of Godot people. Shaztov, it's not your SSD specifically. Your PSU started smoking and the whole setup stopped working. That sucks, but that's very hopeful, because that makes it sound like, unless there was some kind of catastrophic thing where like the PSU just fried everything in the computer, the SSD is probably recoverable. If it's the computer that failed and not just like the SSD, I think it's very likely that you'll get your stuff back, unless it was destroyed in a fire. But that's really rough to lose your computer
Maximum
like
warp.
that. I am sorry. No Jewel, Maximum Warp. Frlansky, sounds fun. How's the project? It's pretty good. We're working on a bunch of different things. Still with the editor tool, obviously, because I'm never going to move on. But we're actually getting close. I feel like we're getting close. We added a bunch of stuff relatively recently. We're working on our clipboard, so now we can build stuff. We can build all our stuff. We can select across multiple layers. So we can select across like 3D layers and add it to the clipboard. So now it's in the clipboard and we can copy and paste stuff. And then we can switch back to our tool, like another tool on the palette block. And then we can switch back to the clipboard again. So we've got our clipboard working real nice. We're still working on a few transitional elements. So if I have the tool selected and I select, that's... what were we fixing before I got distracted? We were fixing something. It was something to do with transitioning here. Oh, yeah. Okay, so it was if we select something after... So we don't even have the clipboard selected, but the hover command is using the clipboard because no tool is currently selected. So we need to add, we pushed a bunch of stuff to the UI so that we could handle this. But the problem is, I don't think the hover command or the hover branch, which is just the you're moving the mouse around thing, the hover branch doesn't understand. And in fact, it looks like the clipboard is being corrupted. Trevron. Shenanigans. Even if the PSU damaged the SSD, chances are they can just replace the board on the SSD in that case and likely didn't corrupt the data. Fingers crossed. Yep. Hey, Trevron, how's it going? Am I a software engineer? Berlansky, you should make a cool space with all these tools. Clipboard's real cool. Hey, Trevron. I do wish the best for you, Shaztov. It is hopeful. I think after hearing about your situation with the loss of your hard drive and computer, I think it is hopeful you will get the data back. So let's hold out hope. But yeah, when you're back on GitHub, and if you need it, if you've got big files that won't fit in a regular GitHub repo, LFS. Or Bitbucket. Diginanigans says good things about Bitbucket. How is it stream, Trevron? How's it going? We're doing, you got a raid and run. You need to get some fresh air. It's hot as heck. All right, good luck. Probably won't see you for a while. We're going to Godotcon. We're leaving to Sunday. So you were doing some SM64 runs. Nice. All right. Well, enjoy your weekend. Thanks for the raid. All right, we're working. Hello, Raiders. This is Digital Iliad here. We're working on an FTL-like. It's isometric 3D. So it's kind of like a vertical FTL-like. FTL faster than light. Classic game. We're trying to do a take on it. Do kind of a different take on it. We're working on a tool for building the ships, and we're working on a couple things. What was that error that I just ignored? Attempt to call function release focus in base null instance. Oh, what? Palette. Board. Have fun in Godotcon. Thank you, Trevron. Shaztov, next year you have your entrance exams for college. Oh, cool. It's like a battle royale. 20,000 seats. 3 million apply. Guess you have to pause on things. The examiner is the JEE in India. You're trying for marine or aeronautical engineering. Well, good luck. That sounds like a lot of competition. All right, we're gonna mess around here with some different stuff. Yeah, okay, so attempt to call function release focus in base null instance. Oh, here we go. So what we can do is we can basically say if pressed button is not null, then we can do this stuff. Oh, does that not work? Do I have to say not equal? Yeah, man, out of those 20,000 seats, whatever you do, they will put you into IT. It's like the Matrix. You don't want to export IT services for other countries. Oof. Even English majors and automobile engineers. Wow, that's a wild system. I haven't actually heard much about that before. Diginanigans, you're also suggesting maybe to separate the non-code files into OneDrive, Google Drive, Dropbox, so they're backed up that way. It works best for text-based files. Approach you like to take is your source files for your assets are in OneDrive, and the only production-ready assets are in your code repo, and can even be Git ignored if they are too large. Nice. Yeah, that's good. I am like, since I'm a pixel art person, I have never run into that problem. But I didn't have a good solution last time we did a 3D jam. I don't even think I backed up most of the source files. So yeah, if I ever lose that, I won't ever be able to rebuild that project. So I should probably work on that for mini delivery. But yeah, if we look at like the size of some of my like art assets here, we're talking about like 7 kilobytes for all of my haul types, all my haul files. Yeah. Talking about such minuscule numbers. Huh, it's the biggest thing you export, unironically. IT, huh? That sounds about right. That's pretty wild. Well, I wish you luck, both in terms of your exam and for your computer and your hard drive. All right, so if we just check to make sure this isn't null, well, that should be fine. Let's make sure that this works. Okay, yeah, now it works just fine because it's got that null check in there. So now what we need to do is we need to fix the hover system for when there is literally no tool. Yeah, so right now the hover is just, even though this isn't selected, it's still just displaying this. Because yeah, it originally didn't understand the possibility of there not being a tool selected. Mr. 32, thank you for the follow. Really appreciate that. Hope you're having a great Friday. All right, so what we need to do is we need to go to the tool system. We need to look at the hover branch, and we need to see what we do. Okay, so yeah, if the active block tool is not equal to empty, we do some stuff. Oh, we need to know whether... We need to know whether there's a clip. Right now, we're not doing enough here to specify. So if there is something in the clipboard, but we don't actively selecting the clipboard, how are we going to track this? And the easy thing to do would be to add clip to the list of blocks. But I don't want to do that because it's not a block. Having an active block tool that's different than the clipboard is really the struggle here. And I actually think that we need to move away from this distinction between the clipboard and the active block tool. How many references do we have to the active block tool? A lot. I think in the long run, we are going to just make it the same because then we can at least support palette items that are more than one block. Like block palette, like so a brush. So you have a brush that's more than a single block. Maybe it's like a design for a closet or like a hallway or something like that. It's a little unclear how you would drag that out. But for now, we just need to handle this branching. So we need something here. Excuse me. Let's just have like a clipboard active or something cool. For now, just it's really, that's really not the way to do this, but this is how we're gonna do it for now. This at least handles this, and here we can say else if clipboard active. Xmox XXLL. You want to work on open source projects. Interesting. Do you mean open source projects in general, or are you talking about games specifically? Also, welcome in. Shaztav. Yeah, I see. I get how hard it's going to be to rebuild a lot of the stuff you were working with. You wrote your own renderer with shaders and everything. I would wait until you know more about the state of your hard drive before I got too much into that or worried too much about it. Because it sounds like your hard drive should be recoverable. You're talking about web dev. Okay, we don't really do web dev here. This is more like a game stream. But it's an interesting. There's some open source communities. There are some people who are like, I only work on open source. We will try to find you something. Oh, here's a good. Yeah, GitHub's not the wrong thing. So here's the open source page on GitHub that has some resources on this stuff. It's got some stuff about joining the community and some people who work on open source stuff in the community. I don't know if it... Yeah, I think that might be a good place to start. I would check out the resources there. But, yeah, for Lansky, you do web dev? That's cool. That I did know that. JD, oh, that's good advice. Look for good first issue or novice tags. That's good advice. All right, so where else do we need to mark the clipboard active? So we add it here. We need to remove it in certain cases. So here, clipboard active equals true. Otherwise, clipboard active will be false. Yeah, I really want to get rid of the distinction between the active block tool and the clipboard. But I feel like that's a bigger rewrite than what we have time for in the next like 20 minutes. So we're going to hack it. We're going to hack it for now, and then we'll come up with a more permanent solution after Godotcon. Select also needs to turn the clipboard off. Yeah, I want to decide an order when I do this stuff. Like, what's the order that I do? Like, I probably should set member variables first, then set globals. But like, what order do I want to do those things in? Do I want to do them alphabetically? Do I want to do them by domain? So many organizational questions I need to answer with this just horrible hodgepodge. I mean, eventually we probably don't want this to just be an enormous switch statement. We probably want a more you probably want to do an entity component thing. That's a little better, but maybe not. We'll see. I don't like making an entity to just process 1 frame's worth of input. I think that's a huge waste. It's something people commonly do all the time. They're like, I create an entity that is created, processed, and deleted in the same frame. And it's like, then why? Then why did you make that an entity? So I want to avoid doing that, but I don't love the current way we do this. Yeah, hey JD. Sorry, I was getting distracted. So the render you're saying was pretty easy. It's the custom editor you made that's going to be the problem to rebuild. I believe that. Mox, you're looking for React and TS TypeScript. Okay, yeah, that's specific. That's good. Yeah, again, I would check out the open source page on GitHub to get started, and then, yeah, start looking for stuff like JD said, stuff that's like first issue, novice kind of stuff. That's a cool way to start. I think that's a great way to dedicate your time to working on some of that volunteer kind of stuff, that open source stuff. I think that's cool. No, you're not annoying at all, Mox. This isn't like, the area of my expertise, but we got a little community here, and someone here knows something about everything. All right, so this should work now. So what was the degenerate case we were fixing? So it was like you make something, you copy it to the clipboard. Oh, there's something I need to fix. Something's wrong with the Z layering. But anyway, we got this, and then what do we do? So then we switch to something else. And then we switch back to the clipboard. Or is it we clipboard, then select, then go back to the clipboard? Ah, it's still getting messed up, see? There's still something happening to the clipboard. We select, and we go back to the clipboard. Select, go back to the clipboard. Yeah, the clipboard is getting messed up. It's probably because we're using the clipboard. It's because we're using clipboard bounds or the select bounds. We don't have a separate clipboard bounds. So we need to clean up the bounds. Because, yeah, we're just jumbling everything up when we go back and forth because I hadn't intended it to be used that way. Oh, yeah, I get it, Shastov. So you're saying you can recreate the renderer because you followed some pretty clear tutorials for it, but you didn't have access to tutorials for the editor or the shaders you made. So yeah, that would be harder to recreate. But hopefully you don't have to. We're still holding out hope that your system will be recoverable because you said the problem wasn't the SSD itself, it was the PSU. It's very hopeful that if you got a competent, you took it to someone competent, they'll be able to fix it. It's like Diginanigan said, you might need to replace the board, but the memory itself is hopefully recoverable. So I would not lose hope first. I would not, focus on the worst case scenario. So let's identify why this is a problem. I think it has to do with this thing, the selection buffer. Not the selection buffer, the selection bounds. So the thing is, when we do the copy, we are using the selection bounds as part of this thing. We probably should not do that. We probably should use the selection bounds once when we set the copy, and then we should not use it again. We should record the bounds separately, like we just have clipboard bounds or something like this. or we call it clip bounds instead of clipboard. We said like private AABB clip bounds. Or we make it longer. Clipboard. Clipboard bounds. For now, that's an acceptable solution. Again, I don't love that in the long run, but 2:30 there. Good night. Yeah. Get some rest. Thanks for hanging out. Have a good weekend, too. All right. So we're looking for uses of the game input.selection. My suspicion is that it's mostly, here. So here in the hover command, what we're doing, and I don't totally understand why, but it's working. We move the game input selection. So we move it based on the offset. But the problem is that seems to have something to do with the content. Oh, it's because I know what it is. It's not this move command that's causing the problem. It's the fact that the select bounds is being reset. Yeah, we need to change this. Diginanigans! Welcome over to the Twitch side. Thank you for the follow. We're getting lonely on the YouTube side. It's understandable. Ryson does the same thing. Diginanigans, you do a lot of web dev, in particular in TypeScript. And although you don't use React specifically much, you're pretty comfortable with it. You don't have anything open source you maintain right now, but feel free to hit them up if you have any questions or you want to toss ideas around. Yeah. Diginanigans is on our Discord, Mox. If you want to be on our Discord, it doesn't sound like you're super games oriented, but if you're interested in it, we do have a Discord and a bit of a community here, which, though small, has been very, very, very awesome. We punch above our weight is how our community feels here. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to stop using game input selection. I don't even know why I have this. I think it's for it's in the global, so I feel like we're using this in another system. I wouldn't have made this a global if we weren't using it across multiple systems. Game input.selection. Yeah, who else is using this? Tool system. Oh, great. Literally only the tool system. Okay. So there's actually no reason for that to be the case. Or for us to be using it then. But what we'll do for now is let's not change that. Let's just add the concept of the clipboard bounds. So we're going to say clipboard bounds equals game.input.selection. And then all subsequent references are going to be changed. Diginanigans figured it was easier to directly chat with people on Twitch there rather than through me. It is true. It is true. I will still read your statements regardless. But yeah, I say if you want like a better viewing, quote unquote viewing experience in terms of quality, lack of ads, stuff like that, YouTube is good. YouTube's good. But if like the thing you're here for is like the community and the interaction and stuff, it is probably better to be on Twitch. But, you know, not everyone wants, you know, everything. So And not everyone wants everything all the time, right? Because yeah, there are some times when I'm like very active in a community or in a stream, and there are other times I'm just chilling. It's on the background. So yeah, I think it's reasonable. All right. I'm gonna get rid of all references to game.input.selection after we've assigned the clipboard bounds. Okay, so we've assigned the clipboard bounds. Now we should... So when we're down here and we're doing this stuff, it should be clipboard bounds.move and clipboard bounds in the offset. It's a little weird to me that we moved the bounds with the offset, and then we still need to process the offset in the place blocks function. I want to figure out why we're doing this twice here. Not twice, but why we need to consider it like that. It works, so I don't want to consider it too closely right now, but it feels like I may be doing something wrong. All right, and then so the only time we change the selection is when we're actually selecting things. Because we were erroneously kind of... I mean, yeah, we were mixing things together in a way that was not good. Do I need to clean up the clipboard bounds at any point? I don't think so. I don't think we'll ever use clipboard bounds unless we've copied something new. Yeah. Okay. If we implement the click drag thing, like the box something with a selection, then click on it and drag, I think that'll be a little more complicated to set up. I do still want it, but I think that is going to be a harder problem. All right, so now when we do this, we grab this, copy it. Here it is. Now we make a new selection. We go back to the clipboard. All right. Okay, so it's mostly correct, except it's changing the anchor point. But that I can live with. Yeah, it's changing the anchor point in a way that's kind of awkward. But that should be relatively easy to figure out. Because we tried to have this anchor point so that, like, if you end your selection here in the bottom corner and then you copy it, we wanted that to be where your cursor was relative to the selection. Like, we wanted to observe that, but the problem is if I change my selection here now and then I go back to the clipboard, now it's moved that. And that's probably the same deal where we probably need a clipboard anchor as well. We probably use the selection anchor somewhere, like here. Clipboard bounds, selection anchor. Yeah, we don't want it. Yep. Same deal here. All right. We're just splitting a lot of these variables. Vector 3i, clipboard, anchor. So we're going to say clipboard anchor equals selection anchor. This way, this also won't change. This is getting so messy, but that's okay. It's got to get worse before it can get better. I don't think there's any other references to selection anchor that we need to worry about. Selection anchor. Oh yeah, we only set this in one point here, don't we? We only set this right here. Where do we use it? Else if clipboard active. Okay, yeah, that also needs to be clipboard anchor. All right, selection anchor doesn't need to exist then. Oh no, it does. We need to record it, apply it to the clipboard anchor, and then not use it again until we make a new selection. So it does need to be used, but only once. And only conditionally, which is why we need to save it. Because there might be some time between or we might not necessarily use it. All right, so we do this, grab this, copy it. So our clipboard should be anchored. Our cursor should be anchored to the bottom of the clipboard here because of the way we did this. And then if I make a new selection, but I go back to the clipboard, it's still anchored to the bottom of the selection. All right, that's what we wanted. That's what we wanted. Okay, I'm pretty pleased with this. We've cleaned up a lot of stuff. I'm going to snooze the ads because we probably need to wrap it up soon. I'm pretty pleased with the state of this. I think I will enjoy showing this tool around. Let's do a cut just to make sure that works. That does seem to work. Oh, this shouldn't work. All right, there's one more change we need to make. Should be an easy one. So when we do a select, we need to set the active block tool to be empty. So when we begin a selection, that should fix that. Yeah, cool. So you'll notice when I've selected something, I don't have this thing following my mouse around. If I select the tool back, it's following me again. And if I go to the selection, it stops. And if I grab this and I copy it, this is the thing that follows me around. If I go back to the selection, nothing follows me around. All right, we're managing the transitions between states here a lot better. I'm pretty pleased with what we got going here right now. Couple of things with the auto tiler for the selection I don't love. I also don't love that the cutaway is like forced on when you're copying a block like this. I need to think about how I want to handle that better. Dinner shenanigans. You think you're gonna head off now and start your weekend? Take care. Yeah, thanks. You too. I think I'm gonna do the same. And by start my weekend, I mean go back to my day job. But yeah, and maybe start some laundry as I'm known to do. This was a nice stream. We had some great little raids from developer Ezra. We had some raids. Let's give some people some shouts. So we had our first raid from developer Ezra, which was great, and then we had a raid from Trevron. I don't think I can spam shoutouts. I gotta wait 2 minutes. We'll give them a shout out. All right, Gargahargar, which is maybe the best name that I've ever read out loud on stream before. You're about to start a 100-day challenge to make a game in Godot. You built some stuff in Unity before. Any major concepts or tutorials or anything that I'm keen on? Oh, okay. That's an exciting challenge. You've built some stuff in Unity before. The concept that you really want to master is the scene tree in Godot. Like, read how the scene tree works. Like, go into the docs and like you really want to understand the scene tree, because the scene tree is just the thing that everything goes in. It's this thing in this upper left, right? And Godot is really cool because it's all node based. So, and scene based. So a node, which is the thing here, may be a scene. So like this node has this little icon next to it, which is probably really hard to see, but that indicates that it's a scene. And this scene has nodes. And those nodes, in this case as well, you'll notice the same icon here, are also scenes. And I went down one further level. These are also nodes. This node has children nodes. Those child nodes are also themselves scenes, which are their own nodes. So a node is a scene, as a node is a scene, as a node is a scene. It's very, you can get really deep really quick, but it's incredibly powerful. It is an incredibly powerful tool. So it's maybe a little harder thing if you're coming from Unity. It's a little harder thing to grasp. It's a little different than their prefabs and game objects. It's not that different, but it's a little different. So I would go through the docs and I would just really make sure that you understand that whole structure of how the scene tree works. Yeah, Fusionist. Nodes who like scenes, who like nodes, exactly. So yeah, in the Godot docs themselves are great. Honestly, what I did when I started getting into Godot is I just read the whole thing. So I don't know if you're more of a tutorial person. If you're more of a tutorial person, yeah, check out, Falansky's saying check out Bitlytic videos. Also check out Bracky's. Bracky's recently started doing Godot tutorials. If you want that. They're incredible. You probably even remember them from Unity if you've done any Unity tutorials. They've started doing Godot stuff. But yeah, it's really, and even the Godot docs themselves have a 2D game tutorial and a 3D game tutorial. But I would just read the manual, honestly. But yeah, it's if there's the one concept that I say is critical to understand, it's that everything is made out of nodes. And a node can be a scene, and a scene can be nodes, and those nodes can be scenes. Like, it's that structure is kind of hard to get to totally. Also, the way that the things propagate through the scene tree, which is why I say learn the scene tree rather than I'm saying learn nodes, because the nodes are pretty all right. All right, I was like, I could keep talking about this, but I don't want to overwhelm. All right, thank you, Garga Hargar. We work on games in Godot Tuesday through Friday, or Tuesday through Saturday normally. I don't think I'm going to be able to stream tomorrow, but that's because I'm getting ready to go to Godotcon. But yeah, we're normally live. I would love to hear progress. We also have a Discord full of Godot devs. So if you have any questions, I would also love to see how the thing goes. 100-day challenge sounds awesome. So yeah, if you want to connect further, Discord's great. Otherwise, I wish you luck. We got to find someone to raid because I need to go. But I'm glad you came in. I'm glad I caught you before I ended the stream because I think that's a great question. And I think what you're working on sounds really awesome. All right, where are we going today? What's Eris doing? All right, I think we're going to raid into another Godot dev. Definitely watch Bitalytic component videos and state machine videos if those concepts are relevant to you. Oh yeah, those are good. I think I actually have seen those. All right, we're going to raid Eris Ezra because they're a good Godot streamer that I would feel confident leaving you all with. Yeah, it's been a really great day. If this ends up being my last stream before Godotcon, I couldn't be more happy, you know? Yeah, it's been nice seeing everyone. For Lansky. Enomoth, I saw you in there for like 1 second. We got Diginanigans to jump over from YouTube to Twitch. That was not insignificant. Gargahargar, I kind of want to just keep saying your name. Thanks for hanging out and asking questions. Have fun at Godotcon. I will. If anyone else is going to Godotcon, JD, if you actually decided to do it, it would be cool to connect. Otherwise, you know, I guess all I have left to say is thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. You can't know Jewel next time. Or maybe I'll get out to one of the European Godotcons sometimes and we'll hang out. Bye.
your dream. Wish all your seasons